Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time for the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwenette Westbrooks and Mr. Dumas.
Good evening and welcome to another segment of the NAACP Truth Show. I'm Willie Dumas, your host. Happy you could join us today on this very interesting Monday morning, weather-wise. It's been cool mornings and still just a little cool outside. Just a little bit different from normal on this time of the year. But happy you could join us and look forward to a good show today. Hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. I'd like to say, to all the mothers out there, hope you enjoyed your Mother's Day. I know it can be an exciting time for mothers as well as a sad time. And for all of those of you who have lost your mother or, your mother's gone on to be with the Lord, as mine has, our prayers go out to you as we continue our journey called life. This weekend, a lot going on in the city of Macon. There was a big concert here in Macon, which brought out some of the flaws that we see as it relates to traffic in Macon. A lot of congestion around the concert for Babyface and Kim on Saturday. I had an opportunity to go to that concert, and there were some issues as it related to traffic. But hopefully that'll be a learning curve for Macon as to some of the improvements that need to be done in that regard. But also during the weekend, just some lovely weather, a great time to get out and do some things. We do know that COVID-19 has not gone away from us. And so we still have to take precautions. I know that, with a lot of the cities lifting mask mandates, people have pretty much became very comfortable with not wearing a mask. But there are indications that the virus can be on the rise. And so we got to make sure that we continue to have those safeguards in mind, even though we're having fun, even though we know that it's warm outside and these types of things. But we still have to be vigilant. On last week, we had the opportunity of having Dr. Mack along with Mrs. McCrary here on the show, and they were talking about a new program that's been implemented called the SNAP program, not to be confused with the nutritional program in the state of Georgia, but this particular program deals with parenting, and it helps to guide the parents and the youth as to making some major solutions involving our youth. And so Dr. Mack was here along with Ms. McCrary, gave some very good insight on that program, talked about the fact that they have some Morehouse professionals, accredited and certified individuals that will work with the parents to give them a better view of some of the things our youth are facing daily and some of the concerns that many parents have, and as to how their youth are interacting with their peers. And so this is a great program. It's a statewide program, as Dr. Mack mentioned, and we do hope that you will continue to look for more information in regards to that particular program. We should have them back on the show sometime in the future to give even some more insight about the SNAP program, because we do feel it's something vital to our community, something that we definitely need, because we know that violence has plagued this city and the surrounding cities and counties daily, and almost daily here. And so just a lot of concerns. And so you have an opportunity to get involved by getting involved in that SNAP program. And so if you want more information about that, you can contact Dr. Mack at Unionville Baptist Church there on Houston Avenue, and they'd love to hear from you, and they'd love to share with you that program and what it entails, and how it can be beneficial to you. We do know that early voting has started. We hope that you took advantage of the early voting. The Elaine Lucas Center there near Central City Park is one of the places you could go to vote early, as well as the Pioneer Avenue voter registration building. And so these were two. These are two places that you can go to early vote. We don't want people to take for granted that they can do an absentee ballot. There are a lot of new laws in place here in the state of Georgia that's going to affect how you do absentee voting. And so the sure way to do it is to go ahead and go to your polling place, vote early, or vote during the day of election, which I believe is the 24th. And so you'll have an opportunity to cast your vote and to have those particular things that are needed, such as your ID. You need a valid ID in order to go to the polls, and so all of those things that makes your vote count. We want to make sure that you have those things in place, and so that you won't have any trouble at the polls. And we do anticipate this to be quite an election here in Georgia, and so the May election is going to be an election for governor here in the state, and we know that that's going to get pretty heated as time goes on. So you have an opportunity to determine who will take the major seat of governor here in the state of Georgia. And so go out and early vote, cast your vote, and don't wait to the last minute. We want to make sure your vote counts, and that every individual vote counts. And so the weather's been great for it. There hasn't really been any excuse not to get out. No large downpours of rain. It's been sunny, been a little windy, but I think we can deal with the wind. It's usually when it rains that a lot of times we don't show up at the polls. And so the weather has been really conducive to getting out, casting your vote, and you can do it early. You don't have to worry about it later, and that way you're in there and you've gotten it done. And so our seniors, I know a lot of our seniors, have a hard time sometimes getting to the polls, but we want to, for you to reach out and see if there's transportation that can be given, for you to get there and to do the things that you need to do to make certain your vote counts. Because we want to make sure not only do you vote in the November election, but that you vote in your local election here, because it's going to be that important. I also noticed over the weekend that the Otis Redding Bridge is now taking traffic both ways, and it really looks nice over there, and it keeps the traffic moving quite well since that corridor has been open. And so a lot of changes here in the city that's opening up and making things better. And we want to see that things continue to go in that direction. Sadly enough, there's still a lot of break-ins, still a lot of shootings in our city. And so if we could curb those things, it can make for a very vibrant city here in Macon. The downtown area, of course, has been a great place to be on the weekends. A lot of different places to eat and to sit out and enjoy music and fun with family, and as well as night entertainment. And so we hope that you're taking advantage of these things because it makes for a great city here in Macon when you have things that you can do, places you can go, to take your families and to really enjoy yourself. We do want to continue to push forward as it relates to voting, because the NAACP as an organization, we have always pushed for our people to be represented and represented properly. And one way of doing that is to exercise your voting. And so we know the strength of voting. We know the strength of the ballot, and that's why we always reiterate that people take the time to go out to the polls and to vote and exercise their rights. We'd love to hear from you if you've already early voted, and kind of tell the people about your experience in voting. You can call us here at the station at 478-250-1444. Once again, that's 478-250-1444. And just give us a call and let us know what your experience was like at the polls. We have been getting some feedback from individuals who have voted early. Um, some of the information I've spoken with individuals about was some of the poll monitoring that's been taking place at the polls. And of course, they still have poll monitors that are going to be there to kind of help people along with the voting process if they're having some type of issues. And so uh, that was mentioned as a discussion as to, about monitors. Sometimes when people haven't voted a whole lot, it's kind of new to them, a lot of the things, and people are kind of timid. And I think also that timidness and that intimidation has been a part of certain agendas to suppress voting. And so we want you to feel comfortable about the process. And so make sure that everything that you need, that you have those things and those items readily available when you go in to vote. Also, there's probably a couple of amendments and those types of things that you'll need to read over. And so the suggestion is to get a ballot, get a sample ballot to kind of see what those are, and so you can read over them. And so once you get in your uh, uh, voting booth, you don't take up a whole lot of time. You can actually feel confident about what you've made a choice to actually vote yes or no on, because you've had that in advance to kind of take a look over it and kind of make a decision as to how you want to vote on those issues. Those types of things are very important. It makes the voting process move a lot smoother for individuals. And so we want you to take advantage of those things and to make certain that you have everything that you need to make that voting process very easy. We do know that there's quite a few candidates that's running for various posts this year. The Macon Water Authority, the chairmanship position, which was held by Mr. Sam Hart, who is deciding not to run for reelection this year. And I believe that Mr. Desmond Brown is one of the individuals that's running for that chairmanship. And so also there's candidacies for Georgia Supreme Court that's taking place. And so lieutenant governor spots that are also on the ballot. And so just a lot of things that we've got to vote on this year to make sure that Georgia is going to be the kind of state that you love to live and be a part of. And so one way of doing that is exercising our vote to get the right people in place to make sure those things go forward. Also, there's a Senate race. Senator Warnock is also, his post is up for reelection as well. And so it's just a lot of things that are going on that people have an opportunity to vote for and to vote the person of their choice. That's one of the things of the freedom of having the freedom to vote, is that you have the choice of picking who you want to represent you. We don't have to be influenced by other organizations or other people, but that you can make a sound choice based on your values and your what you believe is the best candidate for that. Crime is still plaguing us here in Macon over the weekend. There have been some shootings. Um, I'm sure most of you have heard about the shooting that actually took place, I believe, in Lizella, where someone was actually cutting their lawn, minding their own business, cutting their lawn in their yard, and an individual actually approached them with no clothing, which was somewhat bizarre. That this person actually tried to attack this lady who was cutting her lawn, and I guess her husband was also there, and he tried um, to get the guy off of his wife, of course, and ended up shooting the guy. Uh, it's just a crazy, crazy type of situation that occurred. But these things are not uncommon when it relates to crime, and so we just don't know from day to day what's going to happen. And a part of protecting ourselves, we have the right, to bear arms. And our governor just signed off on a constitutional carry just some weeks ago, and so citizens in Georgia don't have to actually have a license to carry a weapon. They can actually, just carry a weapon freely. Of course, they can't have any felonies or anything on their record in order to do so. But to me, that's putting a lot of firepower out here in the community. I know we all have that right to bear arms to protect ourselves, but there are enough guns, it seems, on the streets already with all the shootings that we see from day to day and all of the crimes that are taking place. Also, there was an incident at a Wendy's, I believe, on Gray Highway, where an individual actually drove up to the to go window and actually jumped through the window to rob Wendy's. And so it's been really crazy. Okay, I think I've got somebody on the line that's calling in. Go ahead, caller.
Hey Pete, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you doing, Leon?
I'm doing good. The call in Lizella, the gentleman had some mental instability.
Wow.
Thought I'd, let the radio audience know part two of that. A lot of times that, you just get bits and pieces of it.
Right.
I spoke with the gentleman. I spoke with the gentleman's mother in great detail when they pronounced him, and it's very uncharacteristic for the young man to do something like that.
Wow.
I spoke with several people close to the family. He just lost his father last August from COVID and everything. But his mother told me point blank that he's been in and out of Rivers Edge Hospital.
Wow.
So there you have it. That's another part of the segment. We are living in crazy times. I don't know whether Sharon told you about it or not, but I was in the middle of an armed robbery. Good Friday, 3:45 p.m. at Family Dollar on Ponona Avenue. I will never, ever forget that at all.
Wow.
It's the worst experience of my life. And you would think a person that has the job that I have and do what I do and have seen what I've seen
Wouldn't be
I
as
could be able. Exactly, but it has really destroyed me mentally, and it's going to be a while before I recover. But I can tell you this right here. It's the worst feeling I ever had in my life to be standing there where a guy come in. What scared me the most, Pete, was he kept shaking the gun. Looked like he had his finger on the trigger, and he kept shaking the gun at the cashier. And I'm just thinking, I'm hoping this gun didn't go off. Now, let me say this. I know I'm blessed. I know I'm thankful. I am blessed. I'm thankful. But that's a bad feeling, Pete.
Wow.
That's a really bad feeling. It's a really bad feeling. He dropped a lot of the money behind the store when he ran out of the store. But, you talk about the constitutional carry. I mean, I wouldn't have had a clear shot anyway. I had three people between me and him. You can't just pull a gun and act like Wild Earth because you can carry a gun now. That don't make any sense.
That's true.
I mean, the first one of my law enforcement buddies says, "How come was you packing?" No, it wouldn't make no difference if I was. You just don't pull a gun and start shooting, and innocent people get killed.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you, if he had got a job at McDonald's, his take-home pay would probably be more than what he took from Family Dollar.
Wow.
But now it's a mental thing. I can't go in a Family Dollar. I can't go in a Dollar General, but I can go in Kroger. What's the difference, Pete? It's a store.
That's true.
But anyway, I give somebody else the opportunity to call. Thanks for what you do, you and Gwen and NAACP, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Leon, for all you do as well. Mental health, of course, is a big issue that we're all facing, and we see the results of it. And it seems to be a twofold type situation, as Colonel Leon Jones just mentioned. It's traumatic for him now, and so those are the kind of things that we're faced with in the community, where not only are you victimized from being robbed, but then it becomes a mental issue for the individual that's been traumatized by it. And so it's just tragic that we have to, endure these types of things on a daily basis. When you're minding your own business, you're trying to provide for your family, you're trying to go to work every day and do the things you know to do. And then we're faced with these types of things in the community. And so it shows the seriousness of mental health, and it shows the importance of seeking help if individuals, have mental health, or if you know individuals that need mental health, that they seek the proper care that's necessary for them. Um, and so, do we have another caller? Okay, I was seeing something in the chat, but it's just it's just really bad when things like this happen as it relates to mental health, because these kind of problems can occur, and you don't know if the person's mental until they actually do something that's really out of character. And then once that happens, of course, you have to call in skilled individuals who are able to actually deal with someone that may have a mental problem. And so our prayers go out to our coroner here, Coroner Jones, Coroner Jones, for being affected by something traumatic as uh, being held up, in a situation where guns involved, and a gun's being pointed at someone. That can be a very traumatic situation for people. And it's until you're in that situation, that you pretty much see the effects. I see President Westbrooks has joined us. President Westbrooks, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I've been trying to get on.
Oh, okay. You've been having some technical difficulty.
Yeah, they said was waiting for me for the host to let me in. So,
Okay. We just had Coroner Jones to call in and talk about
okay.
his experience there with the robbery where he was. And we were just
Yeah,
talking a bit about mental health and the importance of, seeking help if you're having some kind of mental crisis.
right.
You don't want to see anyone lose their life, but when people do bizarre or unusual things that are coping with mental health, sometimes it leaves the individual that they are affecting no choice but to protect themselves. And so that's
Right.
why it's so important that they seek help.
Yeah. And just so unfortunately, a lot of times mental health is not actually properly diagnosed. Have
Right.
been properly diagnosed. You have people that are actually walking in the streets right now that have mental health issues, and they just haven't been diagnosed with having mental health. And that's what's so disturbing about it. You don't have basically you really don't have a facility here in Macon to address those issues, especially inpatient and actually on a really on a inpatient outpatient basis. And so they end up in jail. That's where they are basically being placed in jail to basically you know basically get housing and basically get some type of sometimes people are not aware that people have mental health issues until they're actually incarcerated. So
And then I don't think the jails have proper people on staff to, continually deal with mental health issues. That's probably part of their outpatient services, I would think.
right, yeah. And so I'm just fortunate I heard about that experience with our coroner. So I'm just so glad, nobody was hurt and, you know, everybody was safe. So that was, something I did hear about. I don't know if you talked much about voting.
Yeah, we talked about making certain that, when people are, that they get a sample ballot, that when they go for early voting, they don't have to
Yeah, so they can, yeah,
time.
yeah, because Maria did some voter registration. We had a voter registration set up, and people were asking about, voting, who to vote for, and people were, um, uh, and so, she was able to give them a sample ballot. And, some people were like, then they're just gonna vote for the governor. You got to vote for more than you need to vote the entire ballot. Yeah,
Exactly.
vote the entire ballot. So, got some dates right quick and numbers before we go off the air. Just want to remind everybody. I know that we got a lot of listeners. We're live each time we come on. Some people are driving and can't respond back. But if you're out there and you're listening, we're asking for you to please vote and to please, tell somebody else to vote. This is a very important election. And a lot of times people do not really concentrate on the state and local election if it's not a presidential election. But this election is very important because basically a lot of laws and different policies and different laws affect you are handed down by your state and local government. So this is a very important race. We don't need to take this race lightly. People are counting on us not voting. I just want to shoot out some numbers right quick. On May 2nd, we had 341 people voted at the main office and 57 at the Elaine Lucas Center. And we had absentee in person, 398. There was 143 issued. And then on the 3rd, we had 391 voted at the main office. On May the 4th, we had 360 voted at the main office. May 5th, 326 at the main office. And on May 7th, which was this past Saturday, was 149 at the Elaine H. Lucas Center. On the 3rd, it was 74. On the 4th, it was 65. On the 5th, it was 60. On the 6th, it was 69 and 30 on May 7th. These are very low numbers. Just going to go through the absentee in person. 398 for the 2nd, 465 for the 3rd. May 4th, 425, May 5th, 386, May 6th, 341, and May 7th, which was this past Saturday, was 179. These are very low numbers. People, we got to get out and vote. A total of 1,839 people have voted at the at the main Board of Elections, and 355 at the Elaine Center, and actually 2,194 in absentee ballots. So we have more in absentee ballots that we're doing in person. But people, we gotta vote. They're counting on us voting because they're saying that we stole the last election. The last election was stolen. So if we don't get out and vote, this is what they're gonna have in the back of their minds, that the election was stolen, because you see we have another election and people don't get out and vote. But history shows that normally more people get out and vote in the presidential election than they do in the state and local government. But we just got to encourage people to vote. Your governor race is a very important race. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of laws that's going to affect us, and so it's very important that we get out and vote, and we need to vote the entire ballot. Early voting, and I know we got just a few minutes. Early voting is through May the 20th. The general primary, general or nonpartisan election is going to be May the 24th. The deadline for registration has already passed, which was April the 25th. And the deadline for absentee requests is May the 13th.
You have been listening to the live
So we just need to
broadcast
make
of
sure
the
that we keep those dates in
NAACP
mind.
with Gwenette
And
Westbrooks
please
and
get out
Mr.
and register to
Dumas.
vote.
Come join us next Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. on 980 WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.